I should have left the moment I noticed the chair. Not because it was broken, not because it was facing the wrong way, but because 10 seconds earlier, it hadn't been there. I know how that sounds. I know everyone says that in stories like this. It wasn't there before. I swear it moved. I looked away for 1 second. But I'm telling you now, with every part of me that still understands what real means, that chair appeared in the back of room 13 while I was looking directly at the classroom. And the worst part wasn't that it appeared. The worst part was what was sitting in it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But every instinct in my body knew something was there. Watching me. Waiting for me to notice. It was 6:47 p.m. when I realized I was locked inside the school. The corridors were already dark apart from the weak emergency lights humming above the doors. The kind of light that doesn't really help you see. It just shows you enough to know you're alone. I had stayed behind to finish coursework. That was the official reason anyway. The truth was, I didn't want to go home. My parents had been arguing for weeks, and school somehow felt quieter, safer. Even empty, it felt better than walking back into that house and pretending not to hear things smashing downstairs. So I hid in the library until the cleaners finished their round. I wasn't meant to still be there. I knew that, but I'd done it before. Wait until everyone leaves, sit in the computer room, watch videos, pretend the world outside doesn't exist. Only that night when I finally packed my bag and headed for the main entrance. The doors wouldn't open. I tried the push bar. Nothing. I tried again, harder. The metal clunked, but the doors stayed sealed. At first I laughed. It was stupid, embarrassing. The sort of thing you imagine explaining to a caretaker while they look at you like you're an idiot. Then I checked my phone. No signal. That was when it stopped being funny. The school was old. Really old. The kind of building that had been extended so many times that none of it matched. One corridor had blue carpet and bright posters. Another had cracked tiles and radiators that hissed even when they weren't on. The older wing, where the science rooms and unused classrooms were, always smelled faintly of damp paper and bleach. Room 13 was in that wing. Nobody called it Room 13 anymore. Technically, it was Humanities Storage B. But the original number was still scratched into the wood beside the door. The room had been unused for years. That was where I saw the chair. I was walking past, phone raised, searching for signal when I heard a scrape. Not loud, not dramatic, just wood dragging across floor. I stopped. The corridor went quiet. Not normal quiet. Listening quiet. I turned slowly toward room 13. The door was open. I was wrong already. That door was always locked. Inside, the classroom was mostly empty. A few stacked tables, old filing cabinets, torn display paper hanging from the walls, dust on the windows, and at the back of the room, beneath the blackboard, was a single chair, facing me. I remember thinking it looked staged, like someone had placed it there deliberately, like a trap. I took one step closer. The emergency light from the corridor reached just far enough to touch the chair legs, but not the seat. The seat was swallowed in shadow. I lifted my phone and turned on the torch. The light flickered once, then settled. The chair was empty. Of course it was. I almost laughed again. Almost. Then I noticed something on the blackboard behind it. A word, written in chalk, fresh chalk. Stay. I didn't move. The word was too clean, too white. No dust settled over it. No smudges. It looked like someone had written it seconds before I arrived. Then, from somewhere behind me, a door slammed. I spun around so fast I nearly dropped my phone. The corridor was empty. Just lockers, posters, emergency lights, my own breathing. Then another sound came from inside room 13. A tiny creak. The chair had moved. Not much. Maybe an inch. But it was no longer facing straight toward the doorway. It had turned slightly. Toward the corridor. Toward me. I backed away. That was when the school bell rang. One sharp burst. Not the normal end-of-lesson bell, not the fire alarm. Just one distorted metallic tone that echoed through every corridor at once. Brrrong! Then silence. My phone screen glitched. For half a second, the torch cut out. When it came back on, the word on the board had changed. Stay! Please! I ran. I didn't think. I didn't look back. I just ran down the corridor, past the science labs, past the toilets, past the trophy cabinet where every glass panel reflected my panic back at me. School felt longer than it should. The corridor to reception was never that long. I'd walked it every day for years. But that night, every turn seemed to lead into another stretch of hallway. Every door looked familiar and wrong at the same time. I reached the staff room and tried the handle. Locked. I tried the office. Locked. I tried the medical room. Locked. Every room was locked except the ones I didn't want open. Behind me, somewhere in the old wing, I heard the scrape again. Wood against floor. Slow. Patient. Dragging. I forced myself not to look. Reception was just ahead. If there was a phone anywhere, it would be there. The door to reception was glass with a keypad lock. By some miracle, it was open. I slipped inside and closed it behind me. The room smelled like coffee, paper, and that warm plastic smell from old printers. I grabbed the desk phone and pressed 999. Nothing. No dial tone. I tried again. Nothing. Then the phone rang in my hand. I dropped it. The sound was impossibly loud in the empty office. Ring, ring, ring. I stared at it on the floor. Ring, ring, ring. I don't know why I answered. Maybe because doing something felt better than just standing there. I picked it up slowly and pressed it to my ear. At first, there was only static, then breathing. Not mine. Someone was breathing on the other end, shallow, wet, close to the receiver. "Hello?" I whispered. The breathing stopped. Then a child's voice said, "Don't sit down." The line went dead. I stood frozen, holding the phone, my fingers numb around the plastic. "Don't sit down." That was when I noticed the chair behind the reception desk, the receptionist's chair. It had been pushed out neatly from the desk, turned toward me, waiting. I stepped back from it, and as I did, the wheels gave a soft little squeak. The chair rolled forward by itself. Only an inch, but enough. Enough to make me throw the phone across the room and run. The corridors had changed, I swear they had. The bright modern wing was gone. The walls were older now, cream paint peeling in strips. Brown wooden doors with cloudy glass panels. Old photographs of students I didn't recognize lined the walls. Their faces were wrong. Not obviously. Not at first. But when I passed them, I saw their eyes had been scratched out. Every single one. Somewhere above me, the speakers crackled. Then the head teacher's voice came through. Except our head teacher was a woman. His voice was male, old, dry, smiling. "Pupils are reminded," the speakers hissed, "that leaving before dismissal," another burst of static, "is strictly forbidden." I kept moving. My shoes squeaked on the floor. Then another pair of footsteps joined mine, behind me, not running, walking, keeping pace. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I held my breath. The corridor behind me was empty. Then very slowly, from a classroom doorway 30 feet away, a chair slid into view. One wooden leg first, then another. Then the seat. It moved like someone invisible was pulling it. Scrape. Pause. Scrape. Pause. I turned and ran again.